balanced area. So most likely the price will be rotating now because the strength of the buyers and sellers is balanced. All right. No more trends in this area, only rejections of higher prices, lower prices, rejection of higher prices, rejection of lower prices. This is the balanced area, all right? And then again, you can see that there is a rejection of lower prices in here, pretty sharp one, but this time it starts a trend, all right? So this indicates aggressive buyers rejecting lower prices, starting an uptrend. All right, the next rejections are in here, which could mean that the uptrend could be temporarily over. All right, sideways price action. Trend is temporarily over. The first sign were those two rejections of higher prices, indicating aggressivity of the sellers. Basically, sellers jumping aggressively against the uptrend. All right. So let's see what happens next. So, aggressive rejection of lower prices. This is a sign of strong buyers entering the market. And if you compare this rejection to those two, then this one is definitely stronger. So let's have a look at what happens next. All right, aggressive buyers pushing the price upwards from this rejection. So buyers rejected the lower prices and pushed the price upwards. What's also worth pointing out is that there were some rejections of higher prices in here and the price went past them. So if I draw a line somewhere in this area, then the line should work as a support. As you can see, it was a strong resistance zone. The price was bouncing aggressively downwards from it, those three rejections. And when the price went past it and made some rotation above it, then it became a support. All right, you can see how the price reacts nicely to this support. This reaction from here. All right, so if we go back into the rejections, you can see that right now there are rejections of higher prices, rejections of lower prices, rejection of higher prices. So this is an area with temporary balance. This is a rotation area. And the first sign that there will be a rotation area or a change of trend was this rejection of higher prices, because the price was going upwards and then in here aggressive sellers took over and there was some aggressive selling activity. So the sellers didn't really want the price to go higher. That's why they aggressively rejected it. All right. There's more of this balanced area. As you can see, there are more rejections, aggressive rejections, as it is quite common for balanced areas. More rotation. And remember from the previous video which I made, the longer the rotation, the higher chance of a trend. Alright, so this is a pretty long rotation. This is a week-long rotation. And in case like that, there usually occurs a trend after such a rotation. Okay, so volatility is higher now. And as you can see, the price is again bouncing from the level where the strong rejections of higher prices were. There were more of them. So let me move the chart like this. Rejection of higher prices in here. All those rejections basically reject the same price level, this one. So it was a strong resistance zone, and when the price went past it and there was some rotation above this resistance zone, then it became a support. So now you can expect a reaction from it. Right? In here, nice reaction to the support. So what happens next is that there is this very aggressive selling rejection of higher prices, which indicates aggressivity of sellers. This is a strong rejection of higher prices. And again, very strong rejection of higher prices in here. So we have two rejections of higher prices, both really strong, really nicely visible in the charts. And those are signs of aggressive sellers. If you look in this area, in the rotation area, then you can see that the sellers are more aggressive than the buyers. There is not such strong rejection of lower prices as those two rejections of higher prices, all right? So it seems that the sellers are more aggressive in this area. So the next thing that happens is a sell-off, and you could actually predict such sell-off because of those rejections, which are a sign of strong sellers. If you look into this area, then you can see that there was a rejection of lower prices, which, as I said, could mean beginning of a rotation or a temporary end to a trend. As you can see, there was a rotation, but afterwards the price just went past the rejection, which is again a sign of strong sellers, because when the price just went past a rejection like this, then clearly the sellers are strong in this area, because they were able to push through rejection, through place with strong buyers. All right. Then you can see the price went into rotation. It reacted to this rotation in here. There was a nice reaction to this rotation, and then another aggressive sell-off. All right, so this is how you can read the charts using the strong rejections. Let me now skip into one more chart. Let me show you that this analysis also works with different time frames and different trading instruments. So let's jump into a weekly time frame and let's have a look at the crude oil. All right, so this is the crude oil, a weekly chart. Let's start in here in 2011. As you can see, there was a very long rotation and there was a balance between sellers and the buyers. As you can see, the sellers were aggressively rejecting the higher prices and the buyers were defending the lower prices. So this is exactly what I was talking about when I was showing you the balanced market, all right? So what happened next is what usually happens after a long sideways price action or after a market which is balanced for too long. There is a trend. There is a trend development. After the trend, there was first rejection of lower prices. Still, the trend continued, and there was another rejection of lower prices. And after such rejections, usually the trend is over, at least for a moment, and there could be a rotation or change of a trend. As you can see in this case, there was a rotation. Then the rotation continued for a while, and afterwards uptrend started. This uptrend. And again, as you can see, there were three signs that the uptrend is ending. Three strong and aggressive rejections of higher prices. Signs of aggressivity of the sellers who are rejecting the higher prices. Then change of trend. After that, after the trend, rejection of lower prices, which means, as I said, change of trend or start of rotation. In this case, you can see that it is a start of a trend. Alright, so that's for the rejections, and there are also two nice cases of the resistance becoming support. So in here, you can see massive rejections of lower prices, rejecting this price level. Then the price went past it, making the support a resistance. And this is exactly where the price turned. Alright, so this is another way how you can use the rejections. And by the way, quite recently, let me zoom it a bit. Rejections of lower prices, which means that this was a strong support, and when the price went past it, the support became a resistance. And now you can have a look where the price is turning. Alright, very simple setup, but very effective. And that's basically how I read the charts using the strong rejections of higher or lower prices. It doesn't really matter which trading instrument you use or which time frame you use, the logic is still the same. You will be able to see all those patterns in all trading instruments and on all time frames. It takes a bit of practice, but it really pays off. And along with the rotation versus the trend, which I covered in previous video, this is also an essential part in the price action analysis, which I always do when I analyze the charts. And I do all this before I start using the volume profile. Alright, so that's for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.